Welcome back to Adelante Chicago. You've likely heard a lot about Common Core, new guidelines in the academic world for school-age students. A lot of focus is being given to the math requirements. It can be difficult, so what kind of help is out there for students? Joining us to explain is Dr. Rebecca Vonderlack Navarro with the Latino Policy Forum. Thank you for coming in. And you've been in here before to talk about Common Core and some of the difficulties, some of the criticisms, some of the praises with the program. So let's explain what Common Core is and what it means for families at home.
Yeah, so Common Core, quite simply, are new expectations for what all kids need to know in English language arts, reading and writing, and in math. And I think what's important to kind of set this in context, and this really helps the parents that I talk to, is keeping in mind that in most countries where a lot of our immigrant families come from, the central government sets standards. So it doesn't matter what area of the country you're in, the countryside, the capital, it's always the same expectations. But here in the United States, there's been such a high value on local control that each state has had its own standards. So when a kid graduates in high school from Texas, what they are calling college and career ready for reading and writing and math might be different than Illinois, than California. So part of Common in Common Core is setting the same expectations. But also, these expectations are higher.
They're higher.
They're more difficult.
Yeah, and they're higher. What we're talking about today is math specifically, which has always been a very tough subject. I know even, for my parents, as I was growing up, if I came home with an algebra assignment, they couldn't help me. It's very difficult to keep up. And so this has made it just even more difficult for these parents. And how do we offer them help?
And even before we get into that, I think one thing really important to remember that's really influencing the community is that we have more and more kids graduating from high school. That sounds exciting, right? We should all be excited about that. But we have a really big problem. 1 out of every 3 students now across the nation, when they get to college, is not ready to start their English language arts or their math courses. So part of the big motivation to raise standards and to make it the reason why they are more difficult is so that indeed these kids are college ready when they graduate. We know that college is expensive and having to take remedial or extra courses is intensely costly. So families, when you tell them why standards were raised, they usually get it. But I'll never forget a father, it was in Pilsen, who said, and I don't get a lot of fathers, I get more women. And he said, I get why they're raising these standards. I get it. I have a son that had to take extra courses in college. But if you're going to raise the standards, you got to also help us get there.
Give us some tools.
Exactly. And so what's the capacity building around that? And so the initial workshop that I did last time I was here at National Council of La Raza gave money to the forum to talk to parents about the Common Core. And the first question I asked the parents was, what do you see different in the homework? And time again, parents were saying the math. The math looks so different than before. So I said, okay, the next workshop I'm gonna do about math. And I was able to work with the Erickson Institute. It's an early childhood center. And there was an amazing woman there, Rebecca Itzkowicz. She's from Mexico City. She said, if these new standards are gonna work, we have to build capacity with parents. And so she helped me create this second workshop.
So you are in essence teaching parents math? Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good question about what's in it. There's kind of 2 main points to it. One is why the math looks different, why they decided to make these changes. And then the second part are, we really look at young kids. Most of the parents I talk with, their kids are in bilingual programs in like the pre-K to 3rd grade range. We talk a lot about games you can do at home with your kids. So regardless of literacy levels, regardless of English language development, you can play a fun game and build math. We talk about reading all the time, right? The importance of reading every night to your kid. Do we talk about building math in the same way?
No, we don't.
And absolutely the research is showing it's just as, if not more important, for kids to have this kind of quickness with numbers that you can get from games that, by the way, are very culturally relevant.
Yeah, and I think also too we've got to address the fact that as we try to build this society and this community, there's so much more emphasis on the STEM fields and trying to get kids into something more math oriented, because that's where the careers are longer term. So it shows you the importance of the project that you're working on and just getting kids up to par when it comes to math.
I also don't think we think about math as something practical. Something that you need daily. One of the exercises I do with parents is I tell everyone in the room, okay, right now, if you think you're good at math, put your thumb up. If you think you're okay, if you think you're here. And all of us around the room, including myself, we're all going like
Are hiding underneath the desk?
Yeah, like, oh my gosh. And we would talk about our own math anxiety and how, you know, we would talk about math in the sense of, well, you know, don't worry about math. We're not really a math family. You know, you don't really need to know that. We'll never use it. But you would never say that about reading.
Right.
That would be insane. And really, when you start talking about basic competencies in math, you do need it, right? I mean, you need it for budgeting. You need it for if you're having a party, estimating how many seats you're going to need. You need to know, is that really a sale? Is that really a deal or not? I mean,
Well, as you said, it develops a sharpness, right?
yes, especially in our young ones. It's really important.
So if families at home, they want some help in Spanish, or they just want help in general
Yes.
on how to deal with these Common Core standards when it comes to math, where do they go? How do they reach you?
So the Latino Policy Forum website, latinopolicyforum.org, is where you can reach us. And also to anyone out there that's listening, it can't just be one workshop. Our parents want in-depth series of math. They're hungry for it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me.
Always nice to have
Yeah.
you. So engaging you are, so I appreciate it. All right, the LatinoPolicyForum.org, that's where you can get more information.